For someone who's so into personal development, I tend to fuck up and slip up and fall into these negative headspaces quite a bit. And as a result, I think that's why I'm so damn good about talking about this stuff and actually helping other people get out of these kinds of situations, because I always just somehow like slip into them. And it's like the default programming in my brain is just like hardwired to just like want to like find something to be secretly like miserable about and just dwell on it. Like I don't like saying that. I'm not like bragging and boasting, like putting that out there, but it's something funny I've observed about myself, and I'm laughing about it now because I caught myself in this like spiraling negativity this morning. Granted, in my defense, there were some things that happened that caused me to kind of get into this really toxic headspace. But long story short, like I'm very good at taking care of myself. You know, I wake up, I always work out first thing in the morning. I'll intermittent fast usually, and I'll squeeze in some meditations every now and then, usually every day. But since I've been traveling, it's been a little bit harder. But I've still been managing to get up, get some sun, and do some kind of physical activity most days. A couple days ago, I was hiking in this cave, and I like hurt my hip really bad. Actually, my psoas muscle. It's like the one like right down here, like that goes into like your pelvis. So it's been like really painful to sit up, stand up, walk, move around. So I've basically been more or less just like stuck in my room here. Like I'm in a very beautiful place, luckily, a very scenic environment. But besides the natural beauty here, I've been stuck in this tiny village of Chengdao for about a week because I was going to stay for like 2 days. I ended up extending another 4 or 5 days because I need to heal. It's like I can't even like carry my actual luggage right now because there's just so much like instability and pain there. And it's getting better, but it's getting better slowly. So as a result, I'm in this like state of just like low activity. I'm not moving my body much. I'm not working out, and I'm also feeling kind of like not like crippled, but a little bit like crippled. You know, like I'm kind of injured and I'm stuck. And even though I'm in a beautiful place, and I'm traveling the world, and I don't have to go back to work for a few more months, I still spiraling into this negativity because 3 days in bed is enough for anybody to get a little bit depressed. And then like the depression started setting in, and with it the bad thoughts, the toxic thoughts. Like if you guys watch this channel enough, you already know like my narrative, my shitty thoughts. It's always the fuck, what if I like die alone? What if I never meet like a good woman to marry? Is there even a good woman to marry? Because I've always been like a Disney kid at heart. You know, I've always been a one woman man. I've always been the kind of man who wants to get married, who wants to have a family, who wants to put it down with someone, who wants to have a ride or die. Like that's always been me. So sometimes I'll like look at the bigger picture and it's like, man, I'm 33, that hasn't happened yet. And that thought will it'll like hit, it'll like burn. It causes this deep visceral pain like right here in my heart that no other thought will cause. And it's like the thought of like never finding someone. And then it's like, whoa, like I have to check those thoughts at the door. Otherwise I will sweep and I'll go into this just weird like depressive funk where I'm just like, man, I'm never gonna meet a girl. There's no good girls out there, and just like, like no, it's not a place to be at all for me. But I called myself this morning. I was in that mood. I was fucking bummed out. I was like angry and frustrated at every little thing. Even though I'm on holiday, like I'm like sad, and then I'm like thinking about like I don't know, like being single and all this bullshit, and I had to check myself. Like, and I realized this finally. Like, I think I've been like in just it's this pool of just like shitty negativity for like 2 days. But then I like remembered like my own principles and my own teachings and my own ways of coming back to center. And then from that headspace, even though I was in this chaotic headspace, and the thing is like when you're in a chaotic headspace, everything seems negative, and like trying to be grateful and trying to be positive seems like the last thing in the world you want to do. Like it really is, but it's the thing that you need to do, even though you don't want to do it. So how did I get out of it? Well, I forced myself to go for a walk. I got up and I went for a walk, guys, and I walked for like I limped for like 40 minutes because I'm still in a lot of pain, but I think it was also good for me to actually get up and use my muscles a little bit. So I limped for 40 minutes in the sunlight. And after that, I still felt like shit. I took a shower. I still felt like shit. And then I meditated. And I started to finally not feel like shit. And if you're curious about the meditations I do these like breathwork style meditations called Wim Hof breathing. You can Google or YouTube Breathe with Sandy psychedelic breathing. He has a lot of really great meditations, but I'll usually meditate to Wim Hof breathing follow a meditation on YouTube. Sometimes I'll listen to some Viking music with like the drum beats and really just like pound my chest and just get into it and just like let the energy come out. And I did this meditation, and I ended up meditating for like an hour, guys. Just breath work, breath holds, in and out. And like the first 10 minutes, I was so resistant to the process. Like the last thing I wanted to fucking do is meditate. But I've learned from experience that that's like the thing I most need to do. So like I'm surrendering to the breath work. I'm getting into it. Like maybe 20, 30 minutes into the meditation, all this anger, all this tension just erupted out of me. And I got so fucking mad at myself, guys, because I know better and I know how to get myself in a good headspace and I know how to maintain a good headspace. So when I lose my good headspace, I get so fucking frustrated with myself and I get so mad that I let like this negativity in and I get almost swept away with it for a little bit. And all that came out, like, man, you're not even listening to your own principles, your own values. And I have this like code of like ethics and like these values I tell myself every time I meditate. One, the best is yet to come. And I believe everybody should feel this way. The best should always be yet to come. Don't ever be that guy who looks in the past and like that those were the best years of your life. Man, fuck that. No, it doesn't matter. Like even if you're like injured or a little older, there's so much more that life has to offer. There's so much to experience. There's so much to do. Like there's so many different areas you can grow even as you get older. So the best is always yet to come. Your prime is always in the future. You have much to live for. These detours, these experiences, these negative experiences are happening for you to get you to where you need to be. That's another one. I always tell myself the best is yet to come, and I wasn't believing that. I was like thinking like, oh my god, I'm 33, I'm never gonna meet anybody, blah blah blah. I'm like, no, that's not. That's bullshit. Like I'm in like my prime right now, and I'm gonna stay in the gym. I'm gonna stay meditating. I'm gonna stay doing my thing, working on my grind, and my value is only gonna go up, and I'm only gonna be more base, and I'm only gonna be more well put together, and I'm only gonna find more peace with myself the longer I am with myself. So it's a win-win either way. So then I got back to that, and then I remembered this detour, like my injury, the fact that I'm stuck here, the fact that like my vacation's kind of on pause for a little bit while I'm healing, and like I don't even know how this is going to work out for me. Maybe this is the best video I've ever posted and people love it and it gets like 1 million. I don't know. You can't ever really know how the negative experiences of your life are going to help you in the moment when you're going through them. But when you get to the other side and you look back, then the answer becomes obvious. So it's about just having faith and trusting the process. And it's also a very strong mentality to have towards adversity in your life. Like looking at everything, all the shit that happens to you, it's going to build you into something better. And that is going to have a positive influence on your life in some way. You may not see it now. I wasn't seeing it this morning. But I remember I told myself deep down, like, this is just something you have to believe because believing in it is so powerful. And a lot of times, actually all the time, it will get you to where you need to go. Maybe it's a little delusional. Maybe it's just like crazy positivity. I follow Mel Robbins. She talks about this stuff a lot. And since I've been practicing it, it works, guys. It works. But it doesn't mean you don't forget about it sometimes. So believe the best is yet to come. Believe these detours and negative things you're going through are actually going to help you out in the long run. So then I'm meditating and I'm getting back in this, and I'm almost like as I'm exhaling, I'm letting go of all the frustration. I'm just like, man, I have not been living in alignment with my own values that I set for myself, like my own frames of positive thinking. Like I realized that I had slipped up and like it made me frustrated, but then I also was able to reconnect with these core values that I've put like this little template. And then I went through my whole thing, and I'm not gonna end up talking to you guys for like 3 hours, but I've got like this whole thing, you know, like I go through these little phases where like, you know, I tell myself this is where I'm meant to be, like this moment right now, me talking to you guys, this is where I'm meant to be. I'm not meant to be anywhere else. I'm always exactly where I'm meant to be on my path of life. I am enough. I've always been enough. I will always be enough. Same goes for you. Like you don't need to check certain boxes before you feel like you're enough. You're enough today. That doesn't mean stop growing. Of course, always grow, try to be better. But it means like you're good today. Like don't ever doubt that. You're good as you are right now. You're good as you were in the past. Maybe you made some mistakes, but that's fine. You did the best with what you knew back then. And you'll be good in the future. Like you're good. Like the world, consumerism, always wants us to feel like we're not good enough, but in reality, everybody is good enough. So chill, you're good. Am I really going to just go through all these with you guys? All right, I'm going to give you guys a Spark Nudge version because I think this is very beneficial. And if you want to run over these like affirmations with yourself after you meditate, please do, because they are very helpful. You're whole, full, complete, and worthy today. That means you're already finished product. You're complete, like you're living your life. You're worthy. You're worthy of love, abundance, money, success. I mean, that's some superficial stuff. You're worthy of finding your fulfillment and your purpose in this life and giving value back to the world in your own way. That's the real shit right there. You're worthy of it, guys. Like, if not you, then who else? I can't tell you where your gifts are at. I can't tell you what you have to give back to the world. Only you can do that with a little bit of soul searching. But then I go into acceptance, and I think about my life the way it is in this moment, and I try to accept everything about it, the good and the bad. And then I go into appreciation. I think about, again, myself and everything I'm going through in this moment, and I appreciate it all, the good and the bad. And then I kind of go into like this little period where I like tell myself I understand myself, and then that I love myself, and sometimes it hits and sometimes it doesn't. But I have had a few times where like I tell myself like I love myself, and I actually like really like believe in like, whoa, dude, I do love who I am. This is crazy. And then the last one is forgiveness. Like, I don't always have something to forgive myself for, but sometimes like these random things from my past will creep up and I'll think on it, or like a way I'm acting. Like, for example, my bad mood this morning, I forgave myself for the toxic mood this morning, and I forgave myself for losing myself temporarily, and I forgave myself for being in a negative headspace and being human and not living in this rigid alignment with these values I've set for myself. Because let's face it, we are human at the end of the day. I do have my code of ethics. I do have like my creed, so to speak, like this set of parameters I like to live within, but I don't always live within them. I try my best, but you know, to err is human, and human beings are human beings at the end of the day. I like, as much as I want to be like this rigid computer or like this machine, like there are off days, there are off moments, and there are off emotions, and it's just part of the human experience, and you got to accept it, and you can't be too hard on yourself when those moments come. And then after that, I will usually sit with myself for a little bit, and I will try to force myself into gratitude. Not force myself into, but I'll sit there and I'll try to think of things I'm grateful for. And an easy thing to do is like, for example, like I'm grateful that I'm like here in like this cottage, and this is a decent place to heal. But then I'll think like, what if I didn't have this? What if I didn't have money to afford this cottage? And what if I was just injured in Thailand, like on the street? And when you start putting things in that kind of perspective, everything feels really good. Like, I'm grateful for the money I have. Like, I'm grateful for the freedom I have, the time, who I am, my experiences. And if you sit there long enough, and when you're in a negative headspace, you will have a lot of resistance in stepping into gratitude. But that's okay. Observe it. Observe how much you want to be in a bad mood and how the last thing on your mind is trying to be grateful for the things in your life. But still think about the things you're grateful for and sit there. Like, give it like a good 5, 10, 15 minutes of just sitting there thinking about the things you're grateful for. And then a shift will definitely happen. Like, you'll kind of have trouble. But like I said, think about your life without the thing you're grateful for. Like, your mom's alive, your parents are here, your body's functional, you have 5 fingers. Think how life would be if you got 4 of your fingers cut off and all you had was a thumb. That would suck, right? Like, just a rough example, breathing. I can take a big breath. Now, what if I was underwater and I was drowning and I couldn't breathe anymore? Like, when you start thinking about things that way, it causes a shift, and then you start to realize you have so much to be grateful for. And then before you know it, like, what usually happens with this exercise is like it'll be like a struggle to find like 4 or 5 things you're grateful for, and then out of nowhere it'll just like explode, and then you just like, I'm grateful for this and this and this and this and this, and then you can go on for like 13, 20 things, and then like the bliss comes out of nowhere. Just a little mind hack. But then I'll sit with gratitude for a little bit, and that's basically it. And I did that, and my bad mood went from like 100% to like maybe 35%. It still was there for a little bit. Like, I managed to shift and kind of get to the other side. So like from 100% bad to like 30% bad to like 70% good. And then I decided to just go easy on myself and be with it and experience what I was experiencing and just like not judge myself too hard. And now what, it's been like 4 or 5 hours later and I'm like back on 100% positive. I'm feeling fucking great. I'm having a good time. The sun is setting. I'm in a beautiful place. I'm reading Harry Potter like a nerd. And life is good. So I hope this video helps anybody out there who's been struggling mentally, emotionally, maybe even a little bit spiritually, because you can find yourself again. You can always get back to center and you can always get back to the basics. And if you don't have your basics established yet, copy mine, copy the principles I told you here, because they do work. It's not hokum. It's actual stuff that actually works and influences your thoughts and your mood. And with that, just who you are as a human. But until next time, guys, I love ya. I will see you on the next one. And I guess I'll give you guys a view of this place real quick. Hold on. It's pretty beautiful here. Let me, as I'm limping. I got the mountain over there, guys. Got these fresh, freaking beautiful, luscious trees. And some fields over there. But yeah, I love y'all. See you on the next one. Bye.
Yeah, I'm about to fade away, cause every time I wake up I feel like it's Monday. Something's going wrong with all the chemicals up in my brain. All of a sudden I don't look at anything the same way. Got a buildup of my thoughts sitting in an ashtray. I'm sorry that I'm so inconvenient, okay. Just let me be me and I'll stay out of your way.